Hello everyone, it's Emma and welcome back to my channel. Today we're talking about something I've talked about before, but today we're talking about it a little more in depth, and that is how to live low waste with pets. If you've never had a pet before, you probably don't understand, but if you do have a pet, you completely understand me. While it may not be as bad as a human when it comes to waste, having a pet does require a lot of waste from things like food and litter and toys and collars and poop bags and so much more. So today we're talking about how you can make that carbon footprint smaller, that carbon paw print. That was terrible. But again, I have talked about this in the past. That original video is linked up here if you would like to check it out. And that being said, I did not go back and watch it, so I might be repeating some tips from that old video if any of you have been along the journey since then. And also a huge thank you to everyone who answered a question on my Instagram stories. You guys gave me some ideas for zero waste with a pet, and you inspired a lot of ideas on this list. Before we jump right in, if you would like to read along or you prefer reading, I do have a blog as well where I post a majority of my script, so you can read along with the blog post linked in the description. But let's go ahead and jump right in. My first tip for living zero waste with pets is that if you're going to be buying a brand new item, you need some brand new things like a collar, a cat bed, and so forth. You should choose options that are either made with recycled materials or made with natural materials, something a bit more eco-friendly than brand new virgin plastic, and things that can be composted at the end of their lives. Which brings us to today's sponsor, The Kind Pet. For example, this new cat bed, little cat like hideaway I got for my cat from The Kind Pet is made of 100% wool, which means it can be completely composted at the end of its life. The creators Jen and Laura sought to create a zero waste pet store, but like many of us, realized how impossible it is to literally create zero waste. So they wanted to create a realistic, sustainably sourced pet store that doesn't have a one-size-fits-all model. They carry plastic-free, biodegradable, and organic options for your pet to reduce their carbon paw print. They also source only from Canada and the USA to keep their carbon footprint more localized and support the local economy. I think a really cool part about the Kind Pet's website is that you can shop by your own personal values. If you want to buy organic stuff, you can use the organic filter. If you want to buy natural materials, you can sort by that filter as well. Each product also lists the ingredients, materials used, and even how to dispose of the product once you can't use it anymore. I love that they not only think about the beginning of the product, how it's made, and how it's shipped to you, but they also think of the end of the life of the product. That is a big part of living sustainably that a lot of us don't really think about. When we buy a brand new item, we need to start thinking about, how am I going to dispose of this cat bed when it's no longer usable for us? And good news, they take that weight off of your shoulders and they tell you exactly how to dispose of all of their products. So they really go full circle. Their packaging is entirely plastic free, and they are a member of the Pet Sustainability Coalition. Right now, they are donating 1% of every sale to Pro-Choice America and 0.5% of every sale to the Best Friends Animal Society. So you can shop everything you need to have a more eco-friendly pet with The Kind Pet with a link in the description. And by using my link, you can support me as well. I also got these compostable poop bags from them. These are the ones that have no core inside. And I also got these compostable poop bags with the cardboard core in the middle. And we'll be talking more about these later. And we're gonna be talking about this product more later. These Calvin's Craft dog treats that I also got from them that are packaged entirely in aluminum. So thank you to The Kind Pet for sponsoring this video. Now let's jump into the rest of the tips. Let's say you're not really into buying new products, you can instead opt for secondhand. Some things that I see at Goodwill all the time are pet food and water bowls, harnesses, leashes, collars, and a few more accessories. And the thing too about pets is they don't really care. Like, they don't have to have a cute little food bowl. In fact, my animal's water bowl is just a big like cooking bowl that I had. Actually, I found it in the trash, and we'll be talking about that more later too. You could also just thrift pillows and blankets to use as a pet bed instead of buying something fancy. After all, it's just going to be covered in pet hair anyway, so you probably don't want to spend a bunch of money just for this item to get dirty. The next tip is to just use what you have, or use what someone else already has, like your neighbor or something you find in the trash. We also made Mochi's cat tree out of items we had just lying around, like literal cans, like from cans of garbanzo beans and black beans and so forth, some plywood we had lying around, old t-shirts and so forth. That full process is linked up here. We did that over 2 years ago now, and it's still one of the coolest things I think I've ever made. And then also in this category, cats play with anything. My cat loves toilet paper tubes, hair ties, rocks more than the plastic toys that we bought for her forever ago. Which leads me to my next tip, and that is to just upcycle, DIY, make something yourself for your pets. Especially if you're crafty, you can get really creative with this. Behind me, as always, is my rug. It's made from upcycled t-shirts, and both my animals love laying on these, and I have more t-shirts lying around. I think I'm gonna try to create something similar to this, but made out of t-shirts. So you could crochet something out of old t-shirts. And speaking of old t-shirts, I've made toys for both of my pets out of old clothing. Denahi it is an old tube sock that I stuffed with tennis balls that we found at the park. Like this whole toy was supposed to end up in the trash, and I used recovered materials. And then Mochi has some cat toys that are made from t-shirt scraps from the like bits and pieces that I couldn't use in my rugs. They are now cat toys. Now that we're on toys, please ditch the toy subscription boxes. I don't even know what they're called. Bark Box, maybe? The impression that I have is that they send you like 3, 4, 5, 6 toys every month. Maybe it's every week, and you probably can like adjust your subscription, but there's no way that your pet needs 5 new toys every month. Plus, these are all made out of brand new materials, most likely made out of plastic, meaning that they will end up being microplastics, and they are all just gonna end up in the landfill. And I think we're gonna be talking about this a little bit more later too, but Denahi absolutely rips up his toys. And so what I do when he rips the stuffing out, I collect it. I have the bag of that stuffing sitting right over here. Here it is. I stuff this old stuffing in, I sew the toys closed, and then he can use these toys for a long time. This orange bone is actually his very first toy we got for him when we first adopted him almost 4 years ago to the day, and it's still going strong just because I keep fixing the holes in it. Now let's move on to everybody's favorite topic. Poop. Let's first talk cat litter. I've seen people on the internet train their cats to use toilets. Now, if you are that dedicated and you have that amount of time, go for it, because that is entirely zero waste. You just keep your cat's waste in there until you go, and then you don't have to worry about getting a litter box, getting a litter scoop, getting litter, using trash bags, and so forth. But obviously, that is not for everyone. So let's talk about some sustainable litter options. If you didn't know, clay cat litter is actually very harmful to mine and extract from the earth. It's definitely not the most eco-friendly option, but that's the only option you have available to you. I encourage you pick something like a cardboard box or a plastic tub and avoid things like this plastic bag. We'll talk about why I have that in a moment. Cardboard boxes and those tubs are way more easy to recycle or upcycle than those plastic bags. If you have the ability to get some cat litter that is not made out of clay, this one is probably my favorite brand. It is called OcoCat. Oh, it's German. It's German for eco. Basically, this is made out of reclaimed tree, basically the byproduct of like the paper industry. They grind it up into little pebble. They have different like varieties of the size of pebbles. The only thing with cat litters like this or sawdust or whatever other kind of cat litter you're going to use besides clay, if your cat is already trained on clay, you have to wean them onto this so that they don't just not go in it. Anyway, this was a very, very low waste option, and my local Sprouts doesn't carry it anymore, which leads me to this plastic bag of Tidy Cats. We got this plastic bag because it is made from natural materials. It is made from things like cedar. What else is in here? Cedar, pine, and corn. I haven't done very much research if this is like virgin materials, like it was grown specifically to be used as cat litter, which is not the best option. But regardless, I still think this is a little less harmful than using clay, so that's why we opted for this. And we'll reuse this bag as a trash bag. Now onto dog poop. As I already briefly mentioned from today's sponsor, The Kind Pet, I personally love compostable poop bags. We'll be talking about compost later in the video, but for now, no, I do not actually compost these. These still go in the landfill, but I have an explanation as to why I still do that. That video is linked up here on bioplastics versus oil-based plastics, and that is the overall carbon footprint of creating bioplastics is a lot less than creating regular plastics. So I still opt for them. Is it perfect? No, but I still enjoy it. And then I'll be doing a little mini series on TikTok testing these to see if they actually decompose in my backyard. So follow me on TikTok to see how long it takes for these to break down in a pot of soil. These two brands I really, really like. They are actually made with plant materials. There are some brands out there, I've seen them specifically on Amazon, they're still made out of plastic, but they add a special chemical to them to help them break down faster. And brands will slap biodegradable and compostable on those bags when they are not, or they're not good for the planet. They're not good for your at-home compost pile because they're still made out of oil-based plastics. So avoid those. But of course, I'm going to give you a budget-friendly option, and that is to just use literally any bag you have lying around. Tortilla chips, barbecue chips, tortillas, bread, bagel, newspapers, gift bags, whatever bags you have, you can use those to pick up your pet's waste. It is completely free. It gives those bags a new life. Sure, it's still gonna end up in the landfill, but you don't have to buy a brand new product just to pick up your dog poop. As I said, we would get back to it, and that is to repair your pet's items. I already talked about repairing Denahi's toys, but also I repair a lot of my cat's items. She is also very, very good about not scratching our furniture because we have 2 scratching posts for her and she tears them up. I have to repair them several times a year, but it's really simple. So far, I've also not had to buy any new materials to repair it. I just use old yarn and old twine with some hot glue. Very simple. I just listen to a podcast while I do it to pass the time. Please don't mind her. It adds some ambiance, you know? We're talking about pets and here they are bothering me. You need to say hello? Say hello. You gonna leave me alone now? So this scratching post, her very first scratching post, I found in the trash because there was like a little toy at the top. It had fallen off. It was a little torn up. And so someone just, instead of wanting to repair it, they threw it away. My lucky day though, I took it, I repaired it, and I've repaired it so many times since. We've had it now going on about 2.5 years completely for free. And then I just repair it. Of course, you're gonna have to wash your pets at some point. At least your dogs. I'm terrified to bathe a cat. If anybody has tips on bathing a cat, let me know. She's never had a bath, ever. So opt for natural shampoo and even shampoo bars. That's right, they literally make shampoo bars for pets. I see a lot of brands selling shampoo bars to include Atique. I found homemade ones on Etsy and the Earthling Co. Shampoo bars typically last as much as 3 shampoo bottles, as well as you're not paying for the water that's included in that product. Shampoo can be anywhere from like 50 to 90% water, and they're also a lot smaller, making shipping and emissions a lot less. If you are lucky enough to have a bulk store that sells pet food, take advantage of that. I'm very curious to try that soon. We actually just bought Denahi a new bag of food. Our local Winco sells dog food in bulk, and I'm very excited to give that a try. He's not a very picky eater, so we can try that with him, but this little thing, she's very picky, so I'm not sure if she'll like it. Granted, the best part about bulk bins is you can just get a 1 serving sample size. You don't have to buy an entire bag to see if your pet will like it. So who knows, maybe we'll try that as well. I've also heard people say that some pet stores offer litter in bulk. So if you already have one of those like big yellow tidy cat tubs, take that to your local pet store, see if you can get it refilled with litter. I think that's a great option as well. If you don't have access to bulk stores, you can have more eco-friendly options for your pet food to include a paper bag, at least paper-ish. Mochi used to be addicted to Meow Mix, and I liked Meow Mix too because it was a paper bag. There was a plastic lining. You can watch this TikTok right here. I just ripped the plastic lining out, put that in the trash, recycled the paper part. It was a pretty good option. Now, with both of their foods now, they both have purely plastic bags, but I reuse those bags as trash bags. I just tie them with an upcycled rubber band from like broccoli or asparagus. Again, it still ends up in the landfill, but it gets a second life. There are also options though to recycle pet food bags through TerraCycle. If you'd like to learn more about TerraCycle and how to use it, watch this video up here. And speaking of recycling and recycling correctly, be sure you're recycling your pet options, your pet supplies responsibly. Getting cat food in tins is a great option because metal is fully recyclable. That being said, make sure you're recycling correctly. You have to rinse out your cans, let them dry, remove the paper label, and then the paper label and the can can both go in your recycling bin. They do have to be separate and clean, at least mostly clean. It doesn't have to be like sparkling, but you don't want a big mess of wet cat food in your recycling bin. It could end up getting your entire batch of recycling dirty, aka contaminated, meaning it is rendered unrecyclable. If you would like more tips on recycling, you can check out my full recycling series up here and all the individual videos I've made about recycling correctly down below. Another thing that you need to recycle correctly is cat litter boxes. If you're like, what do you mean? It's a box. It's already recyclable. Yes, but listen closely. There's still some little pebbles down the bottom. So you need to open it up. You can watch this video of me doing it right here. You have to open it up, shake out all the bits, as well as this little handle right here is made out of plastic, meaning that has to be removed, or the clean and empty box can go in your recycling bin. But maybe you're one of those people who likes to buy cat litter in tubs. Keep those tubs. Those buckets are so nice. Of course, they are easily recyclable, which is great, but you can use them for storage in your garage. You can use them to bulk shop, as I already mentioned. You could take them to the beach and use them to make sandcastles. You can use them to store water in, like catch rainwater in. A lot of endless uses for these tubs because they also come with a lid. They're really nice. Something else I already hinted at is composting. This is something a lot of people probably don't know about, but pet waste is compostable with a lot of asterisks. There are a lot of ways to go about composting dog poop correctly, and you definitely don't want to do it incorrectly. As you all have probably seen in the past, recalls on things like tomatoes and lettuce due to E. coli and salmonella and all these other stuff. Do you know where that comes from? That comes from animal poop, because in the US at least, we use animal fertilizer on a lot of our crops, and animal poop, any poop from anyone, carries a lot of diseases. That being said, if you're going to compost your dog's poop, I highly recommend you do not put it on your garden. Do not put it on your edible plants because it could carry diseases. But it's perfectly fine to use on your landscaping. If you would just like to fertilize trees, bushes, flowers, things that you're not going to be putting in your mouth, it's a pretty good option. That means that you can actually put these bags in your compost bin as well. You could also have just 2 separate compost piles, one specifically for food waste, one specifically for dog, and just keep them separate at all times. If you have a cat, grow your own catgrass and catnip. This is something I started to do recently, both of which have since died because it is 110 now in Las Vegas. Things just get really crispy in the sun. It's hard to grow any plants in the summer. I'm gonna start them both up again in the fall, and they're both so easy to grow. The really cool thing about catgrass too, I had one sole grass that survived Mochi because she ate it all. She loved it. It actually sprouted seeds, so I'm waiting for it to cool down and I can use those seeds that I got for free to plant more catgrass. Of course, then this is entirely plastic free and the seeds come in a little teeny paper package, so it's very, very low waste, and I even upcycled containers to grow them in. You can also make your own pet treats. I'm specifically thinking of dogs. I don't really know how to make cat treats because cats are very different when it comes to their diets, but dogs are, they're very easy to make omnivores, so you can make your own dog treats. I'm not an expert, I just consult Pinterest. My easiest, most favorite dog treat though is overripe bananas. Typically I make banana bread, but sometimes I'm just feeling too lazy to bake something, so I will just break them with my hand into little pieces, freeze them. Perfect dog treat, especially in the summer. A great cold treat for him after our WALKs. He's right here, I don't want to get him excited. But you can also support brands like Calvin Craft that I got through the Kind Pet. These dog treats are made from upcycled food waste from the beer industry. So they're made from brewers' grains. This material would have otherwise ended up in the landfill as food waste, emitting methane and other emissions. Instead, they turn them into dog treats, package them in aluminum, and can't see him. He loves them though. But also during mealtime, you can feed your dog food waste. Obviously, don't feed them anything rotten or bad. So, and of course, do your own research, consult your vet with any of these food tips. But things like broccoli stems, beet greens, if I buy too many peppers and I know I'm not gonna eat it that week, same with apples or whatever food that is safe for dogs and that he likes, which he's not picky, he eats literally anything. Things that I'm going to put in my compost, sure, I'm not gonna put it in the landfill, I do have compost, but consuming it, whether it's a human or an animal, is so much better than the compost, which is so much better than the landfill. So especially if you don't have access to compost, start feeding your dog food scraps. Same with cauliflower stems and so forth. I cut them up, I steam them so they're soft, and then I add them to his kibble. I'm not just feeding him vegetables, don't worry people. Now, if you just got a pet, you just got a small kitten, a puppy, and you need to get them a collar, get them a really well-made adjustable collar. That way from the time they're a puppy to the time they're a big boy, they can just wear the same collar. You can adjust it to fit their neck size as they grow, and you don't have to buy collar after collar after collar. And the last tip, when you're cleaning out your dog's water bowl, your cat's water bowl, it gets dirty, that's inevitable. Don't pour it down the drain. Upcycle it on your plants, if you have plants. This is something I really started to do when I moved to the desert, because we're in a drought, it's the desert. I am very conscious of my water consumption. If you would like more tips on water conservation, you can check out this video. But even if you don't live in a drought-ridden area, please be mindful of your water consumption. Water is a very precious resource, is a limited resource, especially the more we consume. Conserve what you can, dump it on your plants, and then refill it with clean water. That's all that I have for today. Thank you so much for watching, especially if you made it all the way to the end. I know this got a little bit long. Be sure to check out the first iteration up here and leave your tips for living an eco-friendly life with pets down below so that I can potentially make a part 3. And of course, thank you again to The Kind Pet for sponsoring this video. I love everything that they have to offer. I love that they have the full life cycle of their products on their website. And again, if you would like to shop them, all the necessities you need for your pet in a one-stop shop, you can check them out down below. If you enjoyed this video, you found any use out of it, I would really appreciate a thumbs up and sharing this with others. Share this with other pet owners in your life if you think they would find any value in this. Any small step toward a more eco-friendly lifestyle made by each of us is a really big difference. And as always, remember that your small actions have a big impact in the long run. Bye guys. Action. You should opt for options. You should opt for, okay. Wow, that was really awkward, I think. I kind of forgot I was recording. Okay, you need to be quiet. I'm filming a video. I've seen many brands including this in their, I see a lot of brands selling, that's the word, freaking selling